Two-way radio. Pick up your phone now and join the action. KFM's Hot Seat. Coming right at you. 933 KFM.
Welcome back this last segment of the 933 KFM Hot Seat. We're discussing trafficking of Ugandan women to hoping that they're going to look for jobs or they're going to be given jobs in Malaysia and ending up working as prostitutes. Managed by pimps who take them from here and turn them into sex slaves. Norah, you told me earlier before we started the show that it's about $9,000 that you're bonded to once you arrive. Between 7,000 to 9,000.
Yes.
That's about 20 million Uganda shillings.
Yes,
and
that's
you go
a
to
lot
work.
of money.
Yeah, and you go to work until you recover that cost.
Yes, yes.
Before you can have your documents.
And probably if when you have finished it, then they will try to tell you that immigration will come to arrest you and take you back. I mean, all these things.
You can never pay it back fully.
No, you
from
will
what
never.
I have heard.
You will never. They will always have a reason to keep you in bondage.
You need to read a book by a Nigerian author called Ayo, of a Nigerian girl who was trafficked to London. In the expectation that they're going to get a good job, especially what you talked about of parents encouraging this same process. Waiswa says guys who are always advertising jobs abroad for ladies are the first culprit. So ladies should take note for that. And this is Wi-Fi. Yes. Wi-Fi Waswa.
Yes, of course he's right, and we have said that one of the biggest weapons that we have now is sensitization, is education, is information. That when people are going, they just don't simply do what? Simply go, but they must have as much information as possible.
Kasigye Dan Brasio says, thanks for the program. Thank you, Kasigye. But need you to help me here with these questions. Number one, does Malaysia has an embassy here? Could you answer that immediately?
No, our nearest embassy is in Nairobi.
You have to go to Nairobi.
Isn't the Interpol worldwide and linked to each other in every country?
Yes.
Above all, the Minister of Labour should have known where these people are going and what they are going to do, and actually should be blamed on this case.
Where they are not here, I cannot answer for them. But of course, part of what they do is to make sure that they know exactly where Ugandan people may go and work. Let me give an example where nurses, registered nurses in Uganda, had jobs in UK. So they would come up and say, any Ugandan who have these qualifications, they will try to link you there. Yes. If
you approach the authorities, then the authorities know. If you don't work with them, then they don't know.
Yes.
Luanga Herbert says, good someone notices. Where is because talking the jealous of that. The key suspects are the agencies that claim to have job opportunities in such states. When the poor girls get there, their passports are retained from them and then subject them to all sorts of misery.
Exactly.
Sure, believe me, what is happening to our sisters? The economic blow is pushing them to do anything to survive. Though I believe not all of them are hoodwinked.
Yeah.
By the way, that is the fate of the boys.
Yes.
Dogo, you guys are to blame too. Laxity within your circles, much as the pimps. I think those pimps have contacts of people who matter down here. Have you arrested any pimps and so what?
One part of the question is that it's not only the girls that are vulnerable. Even the boys are vulnerable. Definitely. They need to know this. But I don't agree that highly placed people and that kind of thing. Probably where we would share the blame is that we need to pass on this information to almost everybody now, to schools, to where, by the way, let people not think that this problem is not in countries like UK or where. This problem is there. But, people are given the right information. I think that's, but to say that there are people who are earning from it, from whatever, no, that is not true.
Organized crime always works to enrich certain sections, and sometimes it runs very high.
Yeah, and by the way, let me tell you, there are people who go, and they may be doing supposedly, these kind of jobs which are not vulnerable on the surface of it. I will give an example. In Egypt, in Cairo, some of these girls actually they have work they are doing. When you go there, you will find that maybe they are house girls and that kind of thing. Come night, there are certain places including, these kind of, like brothels and wherever, where they go. So it may be very, very, very difficult to find a dichotomy of who is being who was primarily for sexual exploitation and who has not. And by the way, Charles, let me say this also very quickly. That's where it becomes very difficult. Even here, I've been a police officer for so many years. How many, unless you have sensitized the people, how many people will just come to you and say, here I am, I slept with 10 men every night, and that kind of thing. We need now
the stigma
that comes with it. We need to invest it's not in the girl. We need psychosocial support.
So that they
can
be
because I have talked.
Public again.
Yes, personally, I have
They'll be
talked to some of
accepted.
these girls at my place of work. They will tell you, they will cry, but when you come and say how did it happen, they will not tell you.
Okay, let me
So
run through
we
these
need
messages.
to invest very much into that area.
Well, Keith Mugadia says a couple of months ago there was a BBC expose on girls sent to Afghanistan by a company run by a Colonel. Let me keep out the name. A number of them were rescued by a fellow Ugandan who was an armed guard along with American Marines. I never had any follow-up on this by our government. Big shots in this country are selling our sisters into slavery and then claim that Western powers are evil.
Should
I read out the name of the Colonel?
No, don't. You may not. But anyway, it was in the papers. It was in the papers.
Yes, the company is allegedly run by Colonel Chris Mudola.
Yes, yeah, it was in the papers, and I remember even he was interviewed by even Monitor. Yes, and there are even some other people. I think you're talking about. Is it called Askari? No, not Askar.
No, it's not Askar.
It's not Askar. But let me say this. I have stated that there are companies who export labor. Okay? And this labor, people go for noble professions. They go as askaris and that kind of thing. Okay? But in between, there can be people who may be vulnerable. It may be very, 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 and I don't want to speak for them, okay? I want to know a company here who recruits people and take them out maybe for security, who recruit people knowing that they are taking them, these ones of security, that they are taking them for sexual exploitation.
Isn't that your responsibility to investigate and find out these companies that appear to be recruiting people to take them to do work, if they're actually taking them to do the work they claim they're taking them to do?
And that's what I have said, that the companies which are registered here in Uganda, okay, who have been taking people for jobs in Iraq, okay, for security. People have gone to Iraq for security, they have come back. And it is not true that they have been sodomized or that they have been
that's a
whatever.
handful of companies that you can trace, they have addresses.
Yes.
There are other companies that are registered, appear to be doing genuine business, but actually they are not doing genuine business.
Well, it can happen. Because of course I have told you that there are people who go and they are doing a job during the day, and at night they are doing something different.
Okay.
And when they come here, they say I was sexually abused.
Or I worked and I was never paid my money. Okay. Let me take some more feedback from our listeners. Nyokatre Kennedy says the bigger question should be that why are girls so vulnerable? And unless this question is addressed, we shall not get to the bottom of this. Norah, could you volunteer an answer for this? Why are these girls so vulnerable?
Maybe they thought that, there's a greener pasture over there. But they didn't realize that it's not a picnic going out.
Okay. Our time is very short. Burita Joseph says Malaysia is just a tip of the iceberg. Reports of slavery in Iraq, Afghanistan, Dubai, South Sudan emerged in the press last year, but we have seen no government action on the same. Government needs to be reminded that it is imperative to protect Ugandans both at home and abroad. We are Ugandans anywhere, anytime. Serunkuma Ibrahim says, why doesn't the police arrest these people behind these acts? These people continue to place adverts on radios and police doesn't take any action on them. Why don't you, Mr. Officer, take action? We need action, not words.
I think I've answered that question, Charles.
Isaac Rukundo says it's brought by no employment or unemployment. They are taken by some guys that lie to them that they're getting them jobs. We have seen posters on electric poles, jobs in Malaysia. I stay in Entebbe and has been on for a long time. This has been on for a long time. My neighbor, Mr. Kasigye, as police, why can't you track down these guys? Our sisters are continuing to go. We need to come to an end of this. Thank you.
We are doing that.
Richard Mugarra Ruzindana says, I didn't blame them so much, especially with the mess that Uganda has been turned into by Museveni and his fellows. Mangeni Wycliffe says, black and white posters on electric poles all over Kampala advertising jobs in Malaysia, Dubai. Haven't you ever come across them? In most cases, they want girls. Can't you investigate about it and nab them, because even their contacts are there?
Nab them, yes. I've told you that some of these companies, it is not true that what you see on the poster, okay, that they are taking people for sexual exploitation, right? It's not true.
Okay.
Yeah,
let me run
some,
through this.
but some of them are sexually exploited.
Okay, let me run through this. Tumhimbise Rogers says, could increased unemployment in Uganda be one of the reasons why these girls end up as sex traders in Malaysia? Sex slaves, actually.
That's true.
Kaba Wycliffe Kabaniha says, oh my God, thanks for bringing such a topic. Please, it's not only Malaysia. Have you been in Thailand? We have about 4,000 Ugandan girls there. But still, the question would be, do we have jobs here? Ask Mr. Kasigye, has he seen people lining up for Iraq, where death is the order of the day, but still younger boys and girls are in a line of death, but they don't give up? So, of the two, which one is better, Mr. Kasigye? And it says, good evening. Mayanja Jimmy James, actually, I am a victim of that. The lady came convincingly and told me that a lucrative job in Malaysia, and when I finished processing documents, and she told that you hand someone, and why can't you hook you seriously abroad, such that you become a serious sweetheart? I felt naive because she was working in that very embassy. Please enlighten us more. Unfortunately, we've got to bring the show to an end. This person, Mayanja, says was a victim. Norah, what kind of help do you need from our listening audience in dealing with this challenge?
Okay, to stop it, to stop the thing from just stop the girls from coming over.
Okay.
Because there's no job except for if you are qualified Makariri doctors, then you have jobs in Malaysia.
933 KFM Hot Seat is going to come to an end. Mr. Kasigye, I'll invite you again. I need to invite the ministers here to come and explain, especially the Minister of Labour. I wonder what they do actually. I've been asking myself questions about what they do. Asan Kasigye, Assistant Inspector General of Police, Director Interpol and International Police Relations. Hajah Noraihan Haji Muhammad and Adnan,
Yes.
Honorary Consul, Consulate of the Republic of Uganda in Malaysia. Thank you very much for making time for the show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to you all our listeners for joining us tonight and always, and especially those of you who gave us feedback and each one who listened in. Thank you very much to Nile Gold for sponsoring the show, and to Ban Cafe for the coffee and tea that we have. Good evening.
KFM Hot Seat. The hottest debate on all relevant topics, live every evening 7 to 8 p.m. KFM Hot Seat in association